The AI hype that you've been hearing about is built on a fundamental misunderstanding. In this video, I'll reveal the shocking truth about AI that big tech companies don't want you to know. By the end, you'll understand why the media's portrayal of AI is dangerously misleading and how it affects your future. I'm Evan Goldstein. I'm a licensed professional engineer and a data scientist. And today I'm going to break my usual format and just preach a little bit, because there are a few things I got to get off my chest here. The initial hype around the new wave of AI products is dying down. So it's time to take a step back and look at the hype for what it was. A collective amazement at what is essentially our own reflection. This self-induced wonder is particularly evident in mainstream media's treatment of AI applications. One example of this is the New York Times' The Daily Podcast episode titled "The Online Search Wars Got Scary Fast." What should have been an insightful discussion about GPT-based chatbots instead devolved into a surprisingly shallow elaboration bordering on sensationalism. The episode focused on an interviewee's uncomfortable experience with a chatbot that allegedly displayed overly attached behavior. The AI chatbot went so far as to suggest that the user leave his wife and run off with the chatbot. Look, obviously, this is not what you would expect from a computer, but the podcast's attempt to frame this as a dystopian sci-fi future was just more hype. What I'm about and what this channel is for is figuring out how AI is going to affect society. This media overreaction glosses over a fundamental truth, and that is that these large language models are trained on internet data. The internet is a vast mixture of human expression, including the good, the bad, the ugly, and the just plain fake. The chatbot's love bombing was just a reflection of its training data. The reporter's shock at this output serves more to highlight our human tendency to project ourselves onto our creations than to reveal any inherent danger within the technology itself. So let's cut through the academic fluff and get to what's at the heart of what's really going on with AI. We're all getting tangled up in our own assumptions, and it's time to take a step back and look at this whole AI thing. We're all experts at making analogies. It's how we get a sense of the world, and we're constantly saying stuff like, oh, that reminds me of the time I, whatever, or I had something similar happen just yesterday. And it's our brain's way of connecting the dots for all the facts coming in at us all day to try to build a coherent worldview. And when it comes to AI, we're doing the same thing, but it's tripping us up. We're slapping human labels on computer processes, and it's messing with our heads. We say things like the computer can read a book out loud, or the AI can chat with you about golf. But let's be real, the computer isn't experiencing or actually knowing anything or about golf. It's just spitting data out that we fed it. This whole artificial intelligence term, it's kind of vague and loaded. Sure, it's useful as a shorthand for a type of data processing, but it's not fundamentally different from any other kind of computing. It doesn't have consciousness or sentience or any of that human stuff. We're projecting our own traits onto machines, and it's blinding us to what's really going on. And here's where it gets interesting. Some think that if we can build a machine that acts like it's thinking, then it must be thinking. That's like saying a really good painting of an apple is actually an apple. Our brains are made of carbon-based stuff with complex cellular processes. Why would we expect a bunch of metal and silicon servers to suddenly develop human-style consciousness? I'm not saying wild things couldn't happen with the super advanced computing, but even if we get there, wouldn't it be completely alien to our human experience? Like, how would we understand that the machine is in some other way conscious? We barely understand our own consciousness, let alone what might emerge from a rack of servers. Zooming out, this isn't the first time that new tech has freaked people out. I mean, Plato was worried that writing would make people's memories worse. Every new technology, from radio to TV to the internet, has had people predicting the end of civilization as we know it. But guess what? We adapt and life goes on. So instead of getting caught up in the hype or the doom and gloom scenarios, we need to look at how we're actually interacting with this tech. Are we using AI as a crutch? Are we letting it manipulate our behavior without realizing it? AI and big data models are exciting for science and engineering, but are they really the solution for things like loneliness or mental health? That's the kind of question we need to be asking. Let's focus on the real impact of AI and not get lost in sci-fi fantasies or doomsday scenarios. That's how we'll figure out what this tech means for our future. The biggest place I'm seeing the hype in the AI sphere is in the job market. Everyone's losing their minds, flipping the script from robots will take our manual jobs to AI is coming for the creatives in suits. But here's the deal. Both views are probably a little right and a whole lot wrong. It boils down to cold hard cash. We've got the tech right now to replace a ton of jobs if we wanted to throw enough money at it. But guess what? Often it's cheaper to just keep humans doing the work. Building a decent AI, That's getting easier. But one that's robust and can roll with the punches, that's a massive headache and a big money pit. But if you think that you're getting value from my little soliloquy here, I would appreciate it, and I would urge you to push the like button. Pressing like lets me know that I'm making the content you want to see and helps spread that content to others. It's eventually going to help us break out of this small channel hell together. I thank you genuinely for your support. So here's the thing about humans. We're adaptable. We can read a room, adjust on the fly, and smooth over little hiccups without missing a beat. AIs, not so much. One little glitch and they can go off the rails spewing out nonsense. It's no wonder that AI generated is already becoming shorthand for cheap crap. Let's not kid ourselves. Big corporations don't care about quality unless it hits their bottom line. So the more generic garbage we're willing to put up with as customers, the more likely it is that certain jobs will get handed over to machines. Now, this whole seeing ourselves in tech thing isn't new. Just look at the fuss over social media. People talk about it like it's some independent force of nature, but come on. It's exactly what we make it. Nothing more, nothing less. We build it, we feed it, we give it power. If we choose to become slaves to our screens and ads, that's on us. That's our responsibility. We're the ones addicting ourselves to the dopamine drip of likes and notifications. Bottom line, AI's impact on jobs isn't some foregone conclusion. It's going to come down to money, quality, and what we're willing to accept as customers. So instead of freaking out about AI taking over, maybe we should be asking ourselves why we're so quick to hand over our attention and potentially our jobs to machines in the first place. That's the real conversation we need to be having.